Mm. What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are feeling a little bullish today, maybe. I don't know. We will see how the day closed, but we do have a full moon, so wild things could happen. Wild things could happen. But we got Albert in the house. We got Anna in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy. Good morning to Andy. Good morning to Bill, Brad, Cheryl, Emily, Jeff. We got Lucian, Martina, Shane, Tim, Wendy in the house. All my people out in YouTube land, Clarice, Richard, Mustafa, LC, Big Dreams. Good morning. We got Leonard, Marimar, Wyatt. We got Ray in the house. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube. It's okay. I still love you. If you're not gonna say nothing, but I prefer you just make the conversion. You can type in the chat, throw out some tickers, contribute when you can. But make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. But we have Spy is gapping up a little bit. No no like job reports this morning, pre-market, nothing to really change the sentiment overnight. Asian markets were moving pretty decent as well. And yeah, we have to we have to stay above 552. We have to stay above that level if we could do it, and this is a strong bounce off of it. The one thing I don't like on the SPY is we were able to get out VPOC all the way down to 551.50. We were still, even with this big massive rally that we're putting in today, we still have to get through 557.75. That would be some type of resistance, and then we got 559.26 for today. I know I said there's no reports that came out pre-market that's going to slap us down, but we do have consumer sentiment coming in at 10 a.m. So watch out for that number. Obviously, last time it came out, the markets did react to it, and we got smacked around. I'm trying to figure out how this last week has changed in terms of sentiment. You got the market down for the last 4 days, and even prior to that, we've been kind of just melting lower. So I don't know if that consumer sentiment number is going to be great, but it might be kind of maybe priced in a little bit. We will see. Cheryl says Happy Pi Day. Yeah, three was it 3141619122673 whatever. Yeah, Happy Pi Day. Mm-hmm. We will see. But we gotta get through that resistance at open. Otherwise, we're opening right into a resistance. The trend so far has been sell the rips. And today will be a very, very curious day to see how that could end and if we can get any closing above. I think if we get a close above 559.04, that would be kind of cool. We get above 561.41. I would love to see that. That would start to take out some of these bearish moves. The other thing to consider too, if we flip this to a weekly chart for the week, that is quite the down week. We are still underneath that 50 EMA on my chart. And we're not quite, we're about maybe 30% of that candle of this week so far. So maybe if we could get it up to like, yeah, the 560 zone, that would be about halfway retracing the last 4 days of just downward selling pressure. So we'll see which way this closes. That's going to be very, very important for heading into next week. Yeah, with 3.141592. I was close because I said numbers. I was at least not going with the alphabet when I tried to do it. So that was good. That was an improvement. I like it. I gave it my best. We got the Qs, a little bit of a gap up on this one as well. This one is a little bit more impressive. And again, we've seen that tech this week as it's been opening. We've had pretty much the same reactions throughout the day, moving pretty close together. But again, at least we're above yesterday's VPOC, which SPY check check that box. Same. But we're back above this candle from Tuesday's VPOC as well. So let's see if we can hold this support. Still, both of them are still inside day. So if we could get some just last minute rallies, that would be very impressive. But you get 474.06 would be our first sign of support if we get a bounce there. And then if it doesn't fade, it's not looking as strong then, but then you have probably about down to 471.56. We'll have to try to close at least above that one. For resistance, the next push higher, that would take us to 476.97. The good news with that one is we would be actually breaking out. We got to hold it, but we'd be breaking out of yesterday's opening price as well. So we opened and just kind of flushed straight through yesterday. But if we can get up there, any closing above 477.18, and I think that puts in a pretty decent sentiment change into the market, and then you have the next stop to like 483.64. So let's see if the bulls can get to work today. I don't know. Take a look at Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Richard said, my wife said it was Pi Day. I was thinking Apple. Yeah, I don't know. I like pecan pie actually. I know it's a weird one. I feel like that's a weird one that's like not common. But pecan, what's the other one? Pumpkin. I'm a good pumpkin pie person too. I like that one. We got Bitcoin is still chilling. I mean, not bad for today so far. Trying to get a bullish engulfing candle in. Another big resistance somewhere around 83,792. If we could scrape through that one, we got probably about 84.72, and then maybe we could push right back into that 200, which again, not if we close below it, still the sentiment hasn't changed, but the bulls are trying, which is nice. We will see if that could get up there. All right. Let me see what tickers. Oh, the other one I was looking at too. I was just looking at a couple of weekly charts. Palantir on the weekly chart looks kind of interesting. So I haven't. I went through a bunch. I didn't see too many others that kind of look like this, but you're looking at the 20 EMA. So we've gotten a bounce off that. We've had 4 strong weeks of selling. We obviously have a good retail name where people love it and momentum. If it's going to come in, could come into Palantir. You also have a good volume candle from the week of February 3rd, the first week of February. Now we threw in a little bear trap, and now you're starting to take out the opening price from this week. So there could be a little extra sentiment on that one. You flip it back to the daily, it doesn't look as great. We probably get met with a little resistance around 83.74, but I think that would be one to watch. Maybe even a potential swing trade if we could carry any bullish, if we could stay bullish by the end of the day. I know that's a big ask, but if we can, and then we could carry some of that momentum into next week, Palantir might be a decent one to take a look at. We got Apple. Apple hasn't had any love this week whatsoever. In fact, let's take a look at that weekly candle. Yeah, straight to the straight to the pie factory for this one. Uh, you got 204.18 kind of holding you up. I did have this 211 zone on my chart. 211, 212, I think was the zone that we had to hold, and that came from all the way back here somewhere. Where's this price? Yeah, 208.48. That's a perfect bounce yesterday off that location. So I was gonna try again. I don't know that we're gonna rally, and I don't even know if today ends green. I think it does. I think we hold some of this momentum, but I've been shocked before by these markets. Right now for Apple, if it's going to gain a little bit of momentum, you got resistance back at this 212.28 zone. Andy says hit the 20 on the monthly chart. All right, so maybe we could kind of hold that one. But if we could recapture this 212.28, stay above it, that might set us up for a little bit of a rebound next week to like 217.02. Otherwise, for today, that would be our resistance. I would have to look at yesterday's lows, which is a really, really good bounce spot. The only thing with that now is we've already hit that spot, and if it's going to crumble past the lows of yesterday, it probably has a decent amount of room to continue drilling to the downside for next week. We'll see how that one kind of wants to react. But for today, really just inside day um, at the lower ends. You haven't had that momentum, so I wouldn't be banking on this one for my turnaround story quite yet. I need to see a little bit more on this one. And for day trading, I don't really have a huge sentiment on it. You got Amazon. That one's looking a little interesting. You have really, really, really good resistance though at 199.23. You have hit that before, essentially where we opened yesterday. We bounced right into it. So we've been there on a very, very smaller time frame. But again, we kind of hit the support 193.35. If we could stay above, and again, I feel like I'm asking the Bulls to do a lot, but if we could stay above this level we're at right now, 196.84 or higher, you do have about $3 to the high side on that one. So let's get this one a little bit a little bit higher. We have a chance to break, but I think we're going to need some serious follow through. SPY, I think, would have to get through some of those key levels we talked about to the higher side. And then I think you're looking at, if you get through some of those levels, I think you're looking at maybe $200 today on Amazon, potentially. Potentially. We got Nvidia. Mustafa says here in Japan, it's White Day or Valentine. Women offer presents to man. 1 month later on White Day, it's the other way around. So on Valentine, you're saying I'm trying to reconstruct the sentence. Hold on. So Valentine's Day in Japan, women offer presents to man, to the man, and then on White Day, today's the day that the men offered presents to the women. It's like Christmas, man. It's Valentine. Today's like Valentine's Day for men. Ah, I see. I see. So you guys run that whole charade twice then. Interesting. The greeting card company has taken over Japan. That's wild. That's crazy. They doubled down on that one. All right. Yesterday was technically a good retest gap. It didn't really retest too much. We stayed below that huge resistance. I'm kind of loving the fact that we're above it. Look for that to be your support if the level that we're at right now does not hold. So you're opening slightly above a pretty good resistance. Okay, resistance. Frank says, "You mean all those roses I bought weren't for me?" Sometimes give those roses away to people, Frank. Sometimes you can't hoard roses. You got Nvidia right at a pretty key resistance. If we could get a pullback, and this is from yesterday's candle would be a gap and go, but this entire day was a retracement. I think this one probably fades at open, probably pulls back to 117.40. We'll see how we handle this level at open though. You have the 20 EMA coming in right at you. You got that 200 you got to battle through as well. Bigger targets for today would probably take us up to about 121.71. So we could see that. But I think I would rather see that pullback. That was a really good resistance. We did hit it yesterday. Pile through it after hours, let the market makers do the hard work, and then see if we can use that 117.40 for support if we get a pullback on that one first. We got Meta. Meta, not a great close whatsoever. I don't love the fact that we closed below yesterday's VPOC plus this little key pivot. We got 595.46, getting close to that 200. But that is a definitely bearish engulfing candle. So I think sentiment would have to, it might take a day or two to really change. I think if you get into the 606.18 zone, big resistance probably comes in there. And that could take you actually all the way to resistance of 607.64. So somewhere in that zone. I think you're going to be met with some sellers on this one. Anybody that attempted to go bullish, kind of getting the opportunity to get out. So I think a little chop inside with probably a little bit sentiment to the bear side until the 607.64 gets taken out. Then you might have some room into like 616.42. So I kind of like your risk reward to the downside still from here, just based off that last close. We do have the entire market rallying. That might help maybe break out some of those levels, but that's not a candle from yesterday that tells me I should be going bullish unless we were gapping up to like 623 essentially or higher. AVGO. Yeah, AVGO, I was kind of looking at the other day. I kind of like it around the zone a little bit. Um, Good bounce off that 200. We did retest what we talked about yesterday. We could get in, so we had a perfect little retest. Again, slight little resistance, and I say little because we've hit this one yesterday as well, but we are still underneath it, still inside day as well. You got 196.10. It is a little bit of a chop fest. So last couple days, 7 days, 8 days of just in this price range. Um, Where's the bigger volume? So that's the bigger volume. This downward candle didn't really have much on it. I think the bigger resistance is actually going to come somewhere at this 202.24 zone. I'm not sure we see that today, but Next stop, I think, would take us into probably 198.37 again. That was a zone that was messed with. If the Bulls could hang in today, we could look at 202, but for right now, I think it's a little chop. Maybe being that's inside day still on the resistance, we could get a little pullback 192.46, something to that effect, and then see if we can kind of maybe rally it from there. But we'll see if we get a little pullback first. Otherwise, again, swing trade I think has a decent opportunity on it. If we're not just doing one more rally to trap the bulls and we just continue to crush, we got Tesla and AMD. Sassy. Um, Bulls have been trying. I was gonna say this yesterday too. And I was looking for that 230 yesterday. We didn't quite get there. We almost did. And then I did buy some calls. I flipped out, made a little bit of profit on that one yesterday. But we have big resistance on this one, 248.23. I was gonna say if this one just rallied yesterday and we just ended up crushing through, and we left a gap open from an inside day candle. I was gonna say I've never seen. I can't remember a chart that I've seen that look like that. So usually you would think they would kind of come back in and at least retest at some point, and we almost did. We almost had a full retest. $2 lower would have got us there. Otherwise, for today, we're not dying from this candle from March 10th. We're kind of holding a little bit. This is also an interesting weekly one too. So right now, if we're looking at this weekly candle, and again, this candle's still open, we still have the rest of the day to completely change this. But that is a weekly hammer off the 200, and if we can start recapturing somewhere around this 253, 57 or higher, that would be us breaking out with some decent volume on that candle too. So again, I don't know that we just rallied up and we're just hitting all-time highs again immediately, but maybe do some kind of fib work on this one. Throw a fib in, probably about 50% retracement. Maybe that takes us into like this 320 zone, 322. That would be a decent like pivot spot, and then maybe at the rollover, double bottom, and then maybe finally ready to go. But if you're looking for a bounce, I think somewhere right around the zone. If we could gap up next week, if this candle looks something similar to where we're at now, or stronger, and then we get a gap up next week, Tesla might be on fire. Tesla might be a play. Otherwise, all of this 3 day action, we can't really get too excited with. We're still inside technically that day. And again, lots and lots of volume. The high of that candle is 253.37. We were able to get above that, what was it, yesterday morning? Pre-market or after hours from the day before. So we can get there, but watch for that resistance, 249.55 for today. Maybe we start breaking that. I got a little longer term at 251.43. Again, we'll see. But the bulls are starting to hang out a little bit, and that is a heck of a weekly candle on Tesla. So I don't know. I kind of like it. I think your risk reward is there for a potential breakout. Finally, on that, there's a lot of selling into it. So maybe some bulls want to recapture a little bit of ground. We got ticker 4593. All right, we'll look at this one since it's White Day. This is like a celebration one. We'll take a look at. 4593 is right now not doing much. You are still kind of at that resistance. We rejected it already once today, so if you're trying to make a move to the higher side, you're gonna have to get a close above 281. Otherwise, for right now, this kind of looks like just a lot of selling, a little bit of a rally. You had a gap up retest, and then you probably have some untested VPOCs down to like 262. So for right now, I think your risk reward would be to the bear side on this one. See if it wants to recapture 262, and then maybe if that could hold, you get a double bottom. Or if at any point this 281 starts to break, you might have an opportunity. There was obviously some bullish reaction on this day with this gap up, and that was a retest. We've retested, and let's see if we can start getting above 281 on that one. All right, let's see. Let's see if the SPY stays higher. Calls at 550 is in the money. You got 550 calls on the SPY? Something seems off with that. Let's see. Oh, above 550. I see. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. 552 really is my number. If we get any closes below it, we did close like a few pennies below 552 yesterday, and then after hours puts us right back in the game. So we will see. We got the TQQQ. Um, interesting. Not out of the woods yet, but interesting. Yeah, we're again we are holding above yesterday's VPOC. We did get a new lower low yesterday. We are also opening into a little bit of resistance as well. So we'll see how they want to play this one out. But first sign to me, and I think your bigger resistance on this one is about $6.20. If you can recapture that, you're gonna want to see us. We'll probably get rejected at 61.17, and then second effort to get a close above it. That could start to signal a little bit of a bounce. Also, your highest volume candle comes from March 10th, so we're right at that resistance. I think it's a good one. We need to close, really start getting some closes above that. If we can, we even used that for support before and then just kind of broke through. So I don't think the sentiment is really completely changed, but I think it's starting to maybe. I don't know. Again, until we close all red today and we're like, oh, no, never mind. None of that held. And that would be a super weak sentiment. Yeah, if the markets get this type of gap and then we close the red today, uh-oh. Yeah, some of the Asian markets were up like 3%. So strong day. BABA is looking fairly good today. It is a retest gap from yesterday, which was a bullish engulfing candle. And then you got your big resistance, 143.73. I think we were actually very close to that at one point pre-market as well. Just from when I think I remember I was checking this one pre-market, but yeah, we got pretty close to it. So far, we have to get a close above this 143.73. Longer term chart looks like it's just kind of put in some kind of a pennant pattern, pennant flag type situation. We are above all those moving averages. I think we're just letting some of those moving averages start to catch up. I love all of the VPOCs that we're above at the moment, but one little resistance, which is not a strong, it's not a crazy one. We've been there now twice. And if we could maybe hold up here either today or Monday, maybe we could start to break that out. But yeah, I think you still lean bullish on Alibaba. I would think. I don't know. SMR, SMR. New scale power. Decent gap. I think some of the like the Aklos of the world, I think they're running today. Is it Aklo or we'll check that one in a second. Um, right now this is still inside day candle. I appreciate the fact it's above 1527. We got to stay above that. And then you have big resistance at 1614. Anything closing above it, you have that 200 and maybe that could start to set you up for a little bit of a slightly longer term bounce. You had a little gap up here. Good power move. No pun intended. It's an interesting buy spot. Yeah, I don't know if it holds. Right now, it still looks like we just broke down the 200. This was a rejection of it, and a little bit sideways chop. Yeah, see if we can start breaking that like 1622, 1624 zone. QMCO. Yeah, this one looks like a decently interesting looking chart. Yeah, the quantum names. That's what I was thinking. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, quantum names. This one would qualify. Yesterday, really good move. Today is a retest gap from a strong move yesterday, and it's opening slightly added. I mean, right now it kind of looks like above the 200. So we'll see if this one just gains some legs and just jumps like crazy. But it looks like a good little double bottom, nice little breakout. I would not really want to be the one, I don't think, buying this one immediately at open. I'd look for some kind of a retest. Full on retest would actually take you down to like 1474. That's a big move to the downside. Other than that, though, I think if you get there, it's an interesting spot for sure. And resistance on this one would take us to about 1669. So if we start getting above that, I think this one starts to almost squeeze again. But it looks decent. App App 11. We got very interesting. Good bounce off that 200. Looks almost like a mini inverted head and shoulders, kind of opening right at that neckline. And it is a gap and go from yesterday, a fairly good one. Not that much volume on yesterday's candle. But that being said, yeah, looking for, I don't know. Uh, this is a tough one. There's not much in the way. I guess you have a little resistance from back here, somewhere from back November 14th. We've gotten through that once already, though. Even to the higher end, we've gotten through that. I would prefer to see a pullback, retest this one since this is a little bit inside gap. Even have tweezer bottoms on this one. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting setup. I would love to see a pullback first, and then you go maybe a good high wave candle at open. I'd want to be bullish on it. That looks decent. My question is how to get into this being bullish. The pullback would give me the best risk reward, obviously, but we'll have to see. And a lot of things they are kind of opening in resistance. So maybe this would be one to watch if this one starts to fade. If the rest of the market starts to fade and pulls back, we still have some bullish sentiment on the table for this morning at least. It could be short lived. But if we do get that pullback, I think that would be an interesting one, even going into next week with kind of like it. KR is the Krogers. Not too much day trade sentiment. Yeah, inside day from yesterday. You got resistance on this one about 66.37, and then you got some kind of support around 65.51-ish. So for right now, the overall trend is bullish, so perhaps that would be the direction to kind of just stay in if you're in it. Otherwise, if you're already in it, you're moving stops. But otherwise, you have some tight ranges. I don't think we have too much sentiment on a day trade for it. Ulta. Ulta with a good gap up. I think they had earnings yesterday. They did. So yeah, they beat by 18% and they beat by $21 million higher on the revenue portion of things. A lot of this volume is probably attributed to the actual earnings. Another one just kind of opening into that resistance, but good looking gap and go. Probably targets for today, if it could keep going, is 356.38. That would give us some room. Otherwise, I'm expecting we probably get rejected at this opening price, 344.46. And then I think if you get down to like this 332.54 zone, that would be an interesting buy spot. I don't really want to see it hit yesterday's VPOC, but VPOC is at the low of the day, which is interesting. So there is probably some trap bulls on this one. 2 days of trap bulls, and then you some of those next levels. But interesting nonetheless. Other than that, you guys are incredible, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Friday. Yeah, Friday. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you then. Later.